Jersey's Catholic dean has expressed his disappointment with the lack of Polish and Portuguese people standing for election. He says that this could be due to the complex system without political parties. He also says that many find the political process here very different and somewhat complex. He said that he also thinks that they feel they don't belong enough to the community. So there's a couple of, I've put a link to in the description to the actual article, but there's many things you could discuss with regards to this article, but I just want to focus on the complex political system that we have and whether or not it is or isn't complex, regardless of whether you're from Jersey, from Portugal, Madeira, Poland, wherever you're from. Is it too complex, or is it just the fact that it's not really ever presented in a nice, easy to understand package explaining how it works? We all hear in the news about deputy this, senator that, this is happening, that's happening, but no one ever really explains the whole system in one place and how it works. So myself, I'm not that genned up on how the States works, so I thought I was this was a perfect opportunity for me to go and learn, and at the same time produce a video where I spend one evening researching the states of Jersey and how the system works, put it all into a presentation, and then present it to you lovely viewers. And I'm not sure if all the information I've gathered is correct. I'm not sure if I've made a big balls up of the whole thing and it's a load of nonsense, but this is my interpretation of the information I managed to find. One thing I will say from having done that is that the information definitely isn't nicely presented in one place, and you do have to go to several different websites to piece it all together, and I think you kind of have to already know what you're looking for before you're able to then find it, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's just get on with the presentation. And as I say, if you are watching this and you do know the system and you identify a mistake that I've made, please leave a comment or get in touch with me and tell me, because if people are watching this with the intention of getting into politics or running for election or something like that, I wouldn't want them to make a mistake on the fact that they've watched my video and it's full of errors. So without further ado, here is the presentation. So how the government works in Jersey. Well, the first thing you need to know is that we have a parliamentary based system. A parliamentary system is a system of democratic governance of a state in which the executive branch derives its democratic legitimacy from and is held accountable to the legislature, or parliament. The executive and legislative branches are thus interconnected. In a parliamentary system, the head of state is normally a different person from the head of government. So what we're saying here is that a group of politicians are responsible for running the country as opposed to the head of state. If you want more information on parliamentary based systems, there's a wealth of information on the internet about it. Second thing you need to know, we are a representative democracy. And what that means is a representative democracy, also known as an indirect democracy, is a variety of democracy founded on the principle of elected officials representing a group of people as opposed to a direct democracy. So, I'm sure you're aware, in Jersey, we elect people who hopefully will share the same ideals and the same values and have the same goals as you. You would vote them in, and when decisions need to be made, they will vote on it on your behalf, and hopefully they will come to the same decision you would have come to, and everyone's happy. There are a lot of pros to a representative democracy over a direct democracy, and that is because you don't have to have millions of public votes every time a decision needs to be made, and also the people that you elect, you would hope, have more experience and more knowledge on the topics that they are being asked to vote over, as opposed to the general public, which obviously we're all focusing on our day jobs. We can't be experts at everything. In Jersey, the legislature, or the parliament, is known as the Assembly of the States of Jersey. It's important to know that this is often referred to as the States Assembly, the States of Jersey, or just the Assembly. I found this to be a massive problem over the different websites I managed to get this information from, as it's referred to as so many different things. But in essence, it's all referring to the Assembly of the States of Jersey. So what is the States Assembly made up of? We have 10 senators. These are elected on an island-wide basis. I've put an asterisk there because it is actually due to be reduced to 8 senators. We have 29 deputies. These are elected to represent single or multi-member constituencies. We have 12 connotables, or for the rest of this presentation I'm just going to call them constables. These are the heads of each parish and are members of the State Assembly by virtue of their office. Each parish elects a constable for a 3-year mandate to run the parish and also represent the parish in the States of Jersey Assembly. So just a little bit more detail on each one of those 3 categories. So the constable is the elected head of the parish, as I've just said. The constables are voted in by the parishioners and get a seat in the States automatically. Constables have been members of the States since the earliest record of States meetings. Senators. Senators represent the whole island and first joined the States in 1948. The number of senators has now been reduced to 10, with 4 being elected for a 3-year term only. From 2014, the number of senators will be reduced again from 10 to 8, and all 8 will be elected for the same term of office as constables and deputies. Deputies. The office of deputy has been in existence for over 100 years. Deputies are elected in 17 districts, which correspond to parish boundaries. Larger parishes such as St Helier and St Brelard are divided up into more than one district to make sure the population is represented. Now, just to clarify, when we say the larger parishes, we're talking about population density, not necessarily square miles or whatever, so that we're not getting 20,000 people elected represented by one in one parish, whereas in another parish 1,000 people are being represented by one. There are also 5 non-voting members in the States Assembly, so it's quite important. They're non-voting, they cannot make decisions, and these people are not voted in, they are appointed by the Crown. The first is the bailiff, and he presides over the State Assembly. The second is the Lieutenant Governor. Now, his position is, as I understand it, is more of a ceremonial position, and so we don't really need to focus on that too much in this presentation. The Dean of Jersey. He says prayers at the beginning of each sitting, I believe in French, and he is also able to speak on any issue and give his point of view, but again, he's not allowed to vote. The Attorney General is the legal advisor to the States Assembly, and he will obviously provide them with any legal advice with regards to upcoming policies and that sort of thing. The Solicitor General is the Attorney General's deputy, and I guess he does the same job when the Attorney General can't. Within the States Assembly, you have a Council of Ministers. The election for the Chief Minister takes place as a majority vote in the States Assembly. The Chief Minister-elect then nominates 10 people for the position of Minister. Other candidates may be nominated from among the States members, and a vote is taken for each ministerial post on a majority basis by the full membership of the States Assembly. The Assembly also elects 11 assistant ministers. Now, I've put an asterisk there because I am assuming it's 11 assistant ministers by the fact that they are not allowed to exceed 22 ministers. However, whether it is 11 need to be elected or just a maximum of 11, I'm not sure. And to be honest, I couldn't really find much information on assistant ministers and their role or how they're elected and whatnot. The States of Jersey Law 2005 stated that the Council of Ministers cannot exceed 22 of the 51 voting members of the Assembly to protect against the majority council. So in order to ensure the people with the most power don't all have the same agenda and have the majority vote and therefore can do anything they want, they are not allowed to exceed 22. And that's where I'm getting that number of 11 assistants from. One thing I did notice that was a bit of a discrepancy is that according to gov.je, the Council of Ministers is made up of the Chief Minister and then 10 other ministers. However, on Wikipedia it states that there are only 9 ministers and a Chief Minister. The current Council of Ministers firstly have the Chief Minister, who at the moment is Senator Ian Gorst, Treasury and Resources Minister, Senator Philip Ozof, Economic Development Minister, Senator Alan McLean, Home Affairs Minister and Deputy Chief Minister, Senator Ian Lamarcon, Health and Social Services Minister, Deputy Anne Pryke, Education, Sport and Culture Minister, Deputy Patrick Ryan, Planning and Environment Minister, Deputy Rob Duhamel, Housing Minister, Deputy Andrew Green, Social Security Minister, Senator Francis LaGreasley, and Transport and Technical Services Minister, Deputy Kevin Lewis. Now, the 9 that I said were mentioned on Wikipedia were those 9, and the 10th one, who is not mentioned on Wikipedia but is mentioned on gov.je, is the External Relations Minister, which is Senator Sir Philip Balash. So I'm not sure why there's a discrepancy there, whether the External Relations Minister is a relatively new post or something like that, but I just thought I'd point that out to you guys. So what's the role of the Council of Ministers? The Council of Ministers is made up of the Chief Minister and his 10 other ministers, who are all appointed individually by the States Assembly. The responsibilities of the Council are set out in law and include the following: coordinating policies and administration, discussing and agreeing policies affecting 2 or more ministers. I'm not really sure why that specifies 2 or more ministers. There must be a reason for that, but I'm not sure. Prioritizing executive and legislative proposals. One of the first tasks of the Council is to draw up a strategic plan for Jersey within 4 months of its appointment. The plan outlines the Council's aims and objectives and gives a timetable for implementation. Once the strategic plan is approved by the States Assembly, it is then the role of the Council to make sure it is properly and efficiently delivered. So hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. So how does it work? The Assembly passes and amends laws and regulations. They approve the annual budget and taxation. They appoint and remove the Chief Minister, ministers, presidents and members of committees. They debate matters proposed by the Council of Ministers, by ministers or by individual members. Members are also able to ask questions to find out information and to hold ministers to account. Executive powers are exercised by the Chief Minister and his 10 ministers. Ministers are accountable to the Assembly for the conduct of their departments. So how do you become a States member? If you decide to stand for election, you need to complete a nomination form, and if you are standing for the office of Senator or Deputy, a declaration of convictions. Your proposer and seconders need to be entitled to vote if you are standing for election as a Senator, and they need to be entitled to vote in the electoral district in which you are standing if you are standing for election as a constable or a deputy. Your proposer and seconders will propose you as a candidate at the nomination meeting. The nomination meetings for the 2014 elections will be held on Tuesday the 16th of September for senators and Wednesday the 17th of September for deputies and constables. So there you have it. That's the information I've managed to piece together from various bits and bobs on the internet. I do have to say it wasn't all in one place. That's the one thing I did notice. It wasn't all in one place, and you kind of had to know what you were looking for to then go and find it. It would be nice if it was just like a sort of dummy's guide to the states of Jersey on the Gov website or something like that, with perhaps like an organisation chart or a structure chart, just so it's nice and easy to see at a glance what's going on. But that's what I've managed to deduct from various places. It's probably not all correct. In fact, I would almost guarantee there's something in there that's not right. So please don't take this as gospel, because it's definitely not. And if you do notice a mistake, please feel free to tell me so I can change it. And yeah, leave your comments and your thoughts. Do you think that we have an overly complicated system? I mean, it is an overly complicated system, but do you think that is stopping people from voting and stopping people from standing for election? Or is it the fact that perhaps we never explain it to people in the first place how it works, so people never understand how it works, which leads them to not have an interest in how it works? And obviously you need to have an interest if you're going to ever produce a politician. Yeah, interesting thoughts. Let me know what you think. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It also lets me know what sort of videos people are enjoying, what sort of videos they're not enjoying, and then I can make more of the ones you are enjoying. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys.